Hello everybody, welcome to a new tutorial from Sound for More. It's Leo speaking. Today I have the pleasure to start a new series of tutorials on Copperhead Synth from 4Pockets. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. Additionally, from this video on, I'm going to change the rules in terms of how you get notified if you won a code, and therefore check the rules inside the video description. I will be also adding some additional comments just for this video because I'm changing the rules, and I will explain in the description why that is happening. Okay, so what is Copperhead Synth? Well, it's a subtractive synth influenced from the early 80s synths, vintage synths, which, as you can see, works very well as an UV3 instance or app. In this case, we are inside the AUM, but equally you can use it in standalone mode. As you can see, that we are inside the AUM at the moment, and I have connected the AUM keyboard. Okay, let's go through the user interface. First of all, you have this button here which says full screen. Click on it and it will move to full screen, but it might be a little bit small, of course, if, in terms of seeing the controls. So I'm going to deactivate that. That means that I need to scroll up and down the user interface like so. Starting from the very top, we have a menu which allows you to initialize the patch, going into additional settings, and we'll have a lot of fun to go through those. You can click on panic, it does what it says. Also, you can activate some additional window. I really like the waveform preview because it allows you to actually see a preview of the waveform, which is really nice, particularly when you're doing sound design. You can have access to the help manual and also to the about. Here you have access to the init patch or the browser for the patches. Click on it. Here you can create banks, delete banks, rename banks. And you can see I'm started to create my own one. And then inside each bank, you can create groups, delete them and rename them as you would expect. And then inside each group, you can actually save patches, rename them and delete them, and so on and so forth. You can set your favorite, again, access again to the panic button. You can have it in mono. You can have access to legato, portamento slide. You can activate it on and off the sequencer, which is right at the bottom here. You can see when you activated this on and off button is active. Let's deactivate it right now. Okay, moving on. You can see you have two VCOs. The first one here and the second one there. So you have on and off button here on the left and right side. So you can turn them on and off individually. And then you can also synchronize them between the two so that VCO2 actually can reset VCO1. For each one of those, you can adjust the tune. You can do some, which is, in semitones. The fine tuning, which is in Synth. Double click, of course, to reset it to the default settings. And then depending on the wave that, or the synthesis, the wave that you have selected, these two controls will change. In this case, we are on so, you have pulse wave, a pulse wave for modulation. You can have access to sine wave, so, square, with pulse modulation, triangle, trapezoid, and super so, and also user. And when you click on user definable, if you click on it again, then you have access here to the harmonics, which is useful to create your own custom wave. You can have some default one like sine, so, square, and triangle, but then you can modify them as you like, and you can see also up here what it looks like, and you can randomize it as well. You can have also a live view as well, which is nice. You can reset, and you can also detune the oscillator as well. And here you can change the output level, of course. Moving on, you have a voltage controlled filter, so usual control, cutoff and resonance here. And then this one is the envelope amount, which is down here for the filter envelope. You can choose which filter type you want to use, low pass, high pass, band pass. You have the notch shelf, and of course the format, which is really nice. And of course you can choose to have key track enable and to which extent. Okay, Next, you have the envelope for your amplitude, usual attack, decay, sustain, release. You have the envelope for the filter, again, usual ADSR. And then here you have a mixer, and interestingly, you have a sub-level. You can add noise. And you can also decide to change again the synth output. Really nice. Moving on, you have access to 2 LFOs, LFO1 and LFO2. So the controls are the same for each one of those. So here you adjust the frequency. You can have it in sync to the host of the tempo, or just to fine tuning here for the frequencies in hertz. Okay, then you have your attack here for the LFO. And you can have it also to be the trigger for keys. Then you can decide the destination in terms of LFO to pitch, filter, and amplitude. And you can also invert those as well. You can control LFO1 directly to both VCOs or one individually. And then you can also decide wave, sine, so square, triangle, and also random if you want to do so. If you click where it says here, one shot, it will also do only one shot per LFO, and then it will not repeat. Okay, so 2 LFOs. Again, the LFO2 is identical to LFO1, but it gives you more flexibility. Here you have access to the main output with a meter here. Down here you have a limiter, which you click on it, you can enable it. If you click and hold on this, you have access to the low-high shelf. You can enable it here. And then you can adjust the low frequency and also the high frequency. And then for each one of those, you can adjust the gain. Here you can set the pan left and right, and then here you can set the maximum polyphony, which it's really helpful, particularly when you have an older iPad. And here you set the threshold for the limiter. Next, here you have access to effects. I'm not going to go through them one by one. I think they are quite standard, but you have a chorus, an overdrive, a digital reverb, a digital delay. And then interestingly here, you have a tremolo pan. And depending on this setting, you can have it working as a tremolo or a stereo pan. So let's show it to you, tremolo or stereo pan. Hopefully you have a headphones on. And of course, you can do the usual thing, change the speed, the depth, and also the bit sync. Okay, next. This one is quite interesting. Here, it gives you the ability to have audio gate, so opening and closing the gate in terms of sound, with a lot of different options in terms of how many steps you have in the pattern, so pattern length, how smooth it is in terms of transition, the phasing, the note length, if it's all done or not, and then to reset your note. You can click on the dice here and it will change for you. And let's activate it. Change the note length. Reduce the smoothness. So really nice indeed to add additional effects. Next here you have access to a section which allows you to set cross modulation here. One control which act for cross modulation, ring modulation, and FM. And here is where you decide which one it is. Here you decide the amount. Here you have access to LFO1 and LFO2 affecting this dial. Next, you have modulation wheel control. So you can use the modulation wheel to access the LFO, LF2, also more than one as well. So up to you. Here you can decide your portamento. Really straightforward, and here the range for the bend. Okay, finally, underneath you have the pattern sequencer, which you can enable here. You can sync it to the host tempo as well. Here you have the bit per minute, the length in terms of staff, the speed in terms of the note duration, the gate, how open it is if you want to groove in the key, and then the scale here. And here you have your different steps starting from 0, where it is your C key in this case. And then you click on it and hold to create a step. You double click on a step to actually remove it, etc., etc. And I will do a full tutorial on these. And you have also an additional menu where you can clear the sequence, load a new one, save it. You can edit the note or additional different parameters, if you like. And then you can copy and paste. You can have in monophonic mode, which is really nice. You can have in continuous pattern, latch, sequence, and randomization mode. And these are come back, well, are coming from a little bit of development from MIDI layers, I guess. Okay, I'm going to stop here for this introductory tutorial. So this was just a quick getting started, and I will show you more in the next tutorials. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.